Okay, this afternoon we're meeting Chrisaldo Rendon, a man who has been instrumental in taking approximately 30,000 children off the streets of Cebu, incorporating them into a sport that can possibly last them for the rest of their life and teach them deportment, manners, grace, everything else. Loila, we're talking about dance sport, and we're talking about Dance Sport Cebu City, the largest dance sport organization in the Philippines. Could you please tell us how dance sport, or a little bit about yourself and how dance sport started, and bring us up to date with what's been happening over the last 10 or 15 years?
Hello everyone. My name is actually Chrisaldo Rendon. Lolo is just my nickname. You know, Filipinos, we're fond of having another nickname. And since my father was also nicknamed Loloy, so they also call me Loloy. I'm from Cebu, originally from Cebu. I used to work in Manila. I danced in television professionally during the 1980s. And during the 1994, I came back to Cebu because I think this place is where I belong. And when I came back, I learned to love the art of competitive dancing because I used to do like professional dancing as my bread and butter.
And this professional dancing, this is in the style of Latin American and ballroom dancing?
Not really. It's just about television, dancing in television. It's called commercial dancing. So it's pretty different from competitive dancing, wherein you really have to master your craft.
So this is where you started off in.
Yeah. And I find it so interesting. So I switch. Actually, I switch. And then when I started to switch, I loved it. So I formed a group. When I started way back then, there was no one here in Cebu dancing dance sport. So I started teaching few couples, like some of my friends. So I gathered them and we created a group. And then that's the start of it. No one knew about dance sport during way back then, during the 1990s. So I remember that was I started in 1995. So we expanded and teach people for free, and that's how it started. And then the rest was history. I found a real life couple, Edward and Eleanor Heiko, and I started teaching them. And then they become part of this organization, and they're actually the head of this organization, Dance Sport Team Cebu City, since 1996. And officially, we became an official Dance Sport Team Cebu City in the year 2000. So we're actually 20th year now with Dance Sport Team Cebu City. And
where were you based in the early days, Lord?
Come again?
Whereabouts were you based in the early days?
I started here in Cebu. I studied here in Cebu, but then I had a chance to be in Manila in one vacation. And
no, I meant actually, which location in Cebu were you at? Which location in Cebu?
Actually, I'm from the south of Cebu City, Minglanilla. That's my town. Yeah, that place is very popular on dancing and singing. Yeah, it was very popular way back then when that was during the 1980s. It was actually popularized by two individuals, Edgar and Marites. Actually, Edgar, or Edgardo, is my brother. He's now based in Las Vegas. He's called Guy. Yeah, he started dancing in Minglanilla and created a group in Minglanilla and did like ethnic group and competed all over the Philippines, and that's the start of Minglanilla being popular in dancing.
And tell me, how did you get started with the children?
Well, I grew up with we're four siblings. I'm the third. I grew up with having siblings that are dancers. They love to dance, all of them. So I'm the only one who doesn't know how to dance. So I'm just on the other end in the corner watching them. And I can tell that my siblings are very good dancers. My eldest, which is a guy, he's based now in Las Vegas. And the second one, my elder sister, Lala, she's also a good dancer. And my youngest brother, Tata. But he died last year. But again, I grew up with having siblings that are good dancers. So I think I learned to adapt it. So when even in high school, I don't really dance because I know deep inside I can dance, but I don't feel like dancing because my siblings are very good dancers. So finally, college days, I had a chance to dance because my brother was creating a new group in Cebu, and he tried to lure me to join him in dancing. And for a while, I declined. But eventually, because I'm always exposed to them, so I finally said, okay, I'm gonna try. And then that's it. And I never stopped until now. Yeah. So that's the history.
The start of Dance Sport Cebu City itself with Edwin and Eleanor, how did that come about?
Well, when I came back to Cebu during 1995, I stayed here for quite a while. And, I don't really know where I'm going because I just came back because I believe I belong to Cebu. And then some of my friends, dancing friends, they asked me to join them in groups. So we formed again an ethnic group, and we competed and won several, competitions. And I happened to see some of my old friends. So they asked me, would you want to try going back to commercial dancing? I said, no, I had it already. I'm done with it. And some of my friends, during, hanging out with them, tried to invite me to try ballroom dancing. So I said, let's see, I'm going to try maybe soon. But my mind is not fixed yet during the time. But then finally, I think after a year, they keep on inviting me to join them, ballroom dancing. So I did try. So, and there was a ballroom dancing place here in Cebu City. It's very popular. It's a sundowner hotel. It's called Motions Ballroom, or Motions Disco, but it's actually ballroom dancing. So I tried that, and I was hired as one of their in-house DI during that time. So I did try, and I enjoyed it a lot. But after 2 weeks, I stopped because of some, family problems. So when I came back after 2 weeks, I realized this is good. Ballroom dancing can have lots of, financially you can have lots of it, but there's no challenge in it. So I started to adapt ballroom dancing during that time. And I have lots of videos that were given to me by my friends way back when I was still in professional dancing back in Manila. And I was looking at it. I say, this is really good because this is competitive dancing. And I love competition. So I gathered a group, like 6 of us. Instead, I told them that you have to start something new because this is going to be really popular in the Philippines because Filipinos really love to dance. We really love to dance and sing. So in the beginning, it was quite hard because it's just a 6, and we have no teacher during that time. We only rely on videos. And luckily, I remember one of my friends in the past gave me a book. That book is actually the technique book of Latin dancing, Latin American. So one day I found it in some of my stuffs. It was hidden under somewhere. I just found it. I said, oh, this is what I'm looking for. So I started studying them. And at the same time, I share it with the rest of my group. And that's how we started learning a little bit of the technique, but we don't really know what it is all about, all the content, because there was no teacher back then. So, like for example, we did rumba like now. When we do rumba in the Latin American, you don't really start and count one. Yeah, correct. I mean, all of the dancers knew that. But during the time way back then, we're doing rumba and count one, not on two, because we don't really know. But that was the beginning of everything. And then we started teaching people for free. And
These were adults or the
eventually,
children at this
yeah,
stage?
no, no, adult. In the beginning, those were just adult. And then lots of people starting to join by couples because they found it interesting. And then when we had like numbers already of competitors in Cebu, we start teaching kids. Actually, that's how where my two elder sons started dancing, because we decided to teach kids, because of course, it's nice to see kids, even though during that time we haven't seen kids in competition here in Philippines. But I believe in America it's very popular than the ballroom dancing, especially in TV shows. But we never knew that it was already very popular in Europe, that ballroom dancing, even in Australia. Okay? And then again, it grew slowly, and then it became big and became popular, where most of the kids are into it. And then we started, well, prior to having lots of kids, Edward and Eleanor was having this in mind to start a grassroots program, teaching the kids in the village, in the barangay. We call it barangay here in Philippines. So we link up with uh, people in the government, like in the sports. So we have a collaboration, and that was the beginning of our grassroots program. We
The government
started year.
supported you right from the beginning, did they?
Come again.
The government supported you right from the beginning?
Uh, Actually, we did not ask for support. We just want a linkage, because we want to have number of kids. But of course, we have support from them. We were not asking financially. We're just asking for the support to link between our sport and the children. And how do you connect the children? Through a youth organization. It's actually, it's a, like in the past, it's called Kabataang Barangay, youth organization. And then they changed it to, I don't know what's the name again, I forgot. But it's a youth group. I just forget the name right, even up to now. And then we had a link with them, and then they need also to have a program. And we grabbed the opportunity. So we went up even to the farthest place in Cebu City, like 2 hours by rough road, just to teach the kids, the whole Cebu City. So we separate ourselves. I know I did like a couple of them, or 2 of them, not necessarily man and a lady. I mean, anybody who wants to teach kids for free, like voluntarily. So we had like, I think 20 barangays, villages of Cebu City. Some of them went up to the mountain. Yeah.
20,
And then that's the
20
start. Yeah. And I think you saw that even after now. So we teach kids for 1 month for free. Like every day we go up in the mountain or in the village. And then after a month, we have like a little review with all of them. So we gather them in one place and have like a culminating activity for all of them. We just dance together and then invite them slowly by competition. So that's the start of it. And it did good in the youth. Kids loved it, because I mean, dance sport is a very unique sport wherein you don't need like many instruments or anything that you used to in some
They could just
sports.
do it in their street clothes, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, street clothes, whatever. That they don't even wear shoes. Some of them, believe it, guys, no shoes. They just on their barefoot and dancing because they love to dance. I mean, again, Filipinos love to dance. So that's the nice part of this um, competitive dancing.
When I was there with you a few years back, and you had the barangay competition at the end of the training sessions, and you
Yeah,
invite a lot of the kids there to join the studio for free training. Anyone who does well in the competitions. I believe that one of the problems with the children coming along to the free lessons was actually just them not having enough money to even get to the studio for training. Was that a common problem?
yes, yes. Actually, from that free workshop, at the end of that, we have like culminating, and then we will start doing competition, and then we will select the top 6 of each like category or age bracket. After we have selected the top 6, we absorb them as our official training pool. So we will train them all year round. That's the start of it. The biggest problem during those times, and actually even up to now, is for the kids to come from their place to our training center. That's the hardest part, because lots of parents think that, oh, you're just wasting your time doing dance sport. It will bring you nothing. And that's the hardest part. We keep on encouraging the kids. We keep on inspiring them. But some parents, when they're home, they're trying to go the opposite. So we're like pulling the kids on opposite end. It's like a tug of war. We try to inspire them. We try to let them see what it can bring them to. But then on the other side, when they're home, the parents are always, because they have this notion in the past that it's just dancing. It'll bring you nothing at all. Oh, it's just for gays.
Yeah,
So those are the days. I remember that.
It's not going to make you a living, and therefore it's no good. And I believe also,
Yes.
I believe also that very often, because of the home situation with many of the kids, even at a very young age, they're required to stay home to look after siblings and things like that, and can't get away to come to dancing anyway. Is that right? Is that a common problem?
Exactly. That's one of the problem, because some of the kids, even at the young age, they have to look after the younger siblings because the parents are working. I mean, the situation in which we normally, majority of the kids that we teach are really less privileged children. If you can only see them in reality, your heart will really.
I've seen them. I've seen them in the
Yeah.
studio there when they come in when they're 6 and 8 years old, and they're really just urchins. But I've seen the ones that stick. I've seen the ones that stick with it, and by the time they're 14, 15, 16-year-olds, they're beautiful young women with a lot of poise and a lot of character. And the boys know how to dress well, know how to speak well, and you concentrate very much on making it a very family-like environment for the kids, so that they feel safe. And
Exactly. What's unique with this team in Cebu City is that it's not just about dancing. It's about character building. It's about making them believe that they can do something rather than just being home doing nothing. And you can see the kids, how enthusiastic they are when they start to learn the very first few figures of the dance. And then when you play the music, it really explodes. Like they're in a different world. And they're carefree about, nothing at all. They just want to dance and dance and dance and dance. But the problem is, after each practice, when they go home, that's another problem that they have to face. That's one of the biggest problem here in
and
America.
the children, when they're in the studio there, the enthusiasm that they show is just incredible. When you do the group training and that, there's nobody sitting down, nobody doing anything. They're all up there, involved and really enjoying themselves.
Yes, exactly. Actually, I have seen lots of teams in the Philippines. The problem is that the kids actually, it's like I'm going to share this to everybody who's watching, all Filipino watching. You know what? What's nice with what we did during the early days of our training, how we bring the kids into dancing is that when we train, kids very, short, how do you call it? They get bored easily. Okay.
Short span of attention.
yeah, short span of attention span. So what we did uh, in our training is that we give them 30 minutes teaching the basic steps of each dances, and then we let them play 30 minutes. So they're gonna run and play and jump and whatever, and then we're gonna come back again after 30 minutes and dance again. So they learn to adapt the dance. They learn to enjoy that, rather than some of the teams that they're stiff, very stiff in the training the kids. They got bored because, of course, they weren't able to chew it for all of it. So
It
the best
also
way,
builds up.
yeah,
It also builds up a great friendship between people that they wouldn't have normally
yeah,
associated with.
exactly. And I mean, uh, one good example are my two elder sons. When I started to bring them, because if I'll try to ask them to join dancing, they won't. They'll say no. They don't want to dance. So what I did, I brought them to training center, and I just left them, both of them, together with the kids. So I just left them. I know they're playing. I can see from afar they're playing. And then once the teacher called them to line up and do some figures, they joined them. And then when I came back there, I saw them dancing already. So that was it. I mean, you don't have to force your kids. Let them feel it into that, so they can start to have that feeling, especially, meeting new friends. I mean, they're just kids. They just want to play, but it brings them more excitement.
And
Being
over
with,
the years, you've
yeah,
built up quite a team of supportive teachers there with you now. People who
yes,
have been through the program and
yes,
are working in other jobs, but are now coming back and teaching for you as well. And everything is done for
yes,
nothing. Everything is for
yes,
free.
yes. And what's nice also is that we give we give everybody equal opportunity, equal footing to all of them. There will always be good, you know, good dancers, very talented ones, and they're really very, very slow. But I don't believe that they cannot do it. And later we will talk about that example of who are those kids during that time that are very successful now. Yeah, that's what's nice with us. We let them be like family. We're family oriented. That everybody's equal, regardless of how good you are, or how slow you are, or how small you are, or how tall you are, or how beautiful you are, or how you think how ugly you are. It's not about that. It's really equal footing to all, and I treat them equally. And
In
that's
all sports, there are people who are naturally talented at what they're doing, but there are
exactly,
also people who have little talent but are prepared to work very hard. In the
exactly,
end, they all come together.
yeah,
And quite often it's the ones who are prepared to work very hard who are actually
yeah.
more successful than the ones who have the talent, who find it easier
Exactly.
along the
I
way.
agree.
Hmm.
I agree. I totally agree. That is why uh, in our team, Cebu City, we have very talented ones and successful, and we have the very slow one, where uh, during the time that they're laughing stock, you know, everybody laughed at them because they cannot dance. But I always give them a chance. I said, I know you can do it. Just keep on telling them that they can do it slowly, one step at a time. You'll never go wrong. Just one step at a time. And look at them now; they're very
And
successful. And
isn't that
really,
wonderful? I mean, most of these kids, or certainly a high percentage of these kids, come from the streets. And
exactly.
how many people ever tell them, "You can do it. You can do it if you really put your mind to it." They don't get that
Yeah.
in very many places. Loy Loy, let's just call a break here, and we'll call this part one. Let's come back in a moment or two, and we'll talk about some of the successes that you've had along the way. Is
Okay.
that all right?
No problem. Yeah. No problem. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah. No problem.